I am
And
incredibly impressed
yeah,
with
whenever
China right now.
they figure it out.
I'm incredibly impressed because one of the things that my brother actually alluded to, he was like, they're going to build a hospital in 6 days. And I was like, no way. And then I Google it, and it turns out they're building 2 hospitals in like 10 days. So it's like legitimately, I saw video of cranes, just like 50 of them, just or they weren't cranes, but they were like those excavation kind of tractors or whatever, going at it, just like clearing this entire site, ready to build a hospital. It's just going to go up in minutes, like I don't know, 3D printed style. They're just going to bring in a million Chinese people to just make it happen. It's wild how fast they are able to respond. Because if this was going down in America, there's no way we're responding this quickly. There's just I can't imagine that we are that prepared.
Yeah, I mean, how do you delegate so many like different pieces to that? I mean, that seems like just like a management just
Shitstorm.
mastery of like how to like delegate and how to like move and how to like even just give not alone like do the work, but even to know what the work is to be done and give it out in such a fast manner. So
Mobilize.
I don't know how they
Mobilize
do it.
that
I
many
mean,
pieces.
they're extremely efficient when it comes to building.
Well, I was telling you this yesterday. I believe that if there's one career move that we can make from a longer term perspective, beyond obviously going to China at this very moment, would be to visit China
Yeah.
and to understand their culture and understand, like, man, when I visited in 2010, I would remember being in between 2 unknown cities on a train. And then, like, hours into it, I see just cranes, probably like 30, 40 cranes, all putting skyrise buildings up within what would be a few weeks, if not a few months tops, building an entire village or an entire city in just record speed. And the amount of catering that even professional sports does to China is becoming such a massive topic. And the Chinese market, from a movie going market, is the biggest market in the world, from a consumption market, from a growing middle class market. I mean, it's the most relevant growth of business we've seen in our entire lifetime. And even here, when I think about real estate, we think about like, oh, Chinese people are buying everything. Farmland pricing in even near Valhalla in Montreal is going up because Chinese people are buying farmland across the country. So it's just such a massive, I don't know, there's such a gravity to the way that China operates. And it's so effective and efficient. And it's really amazing where they've come from on all of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the relationship that the kind of two powerhouses in the global scheme are at when it comes to the United States specifically and China are kind of like neck and neck with leadership, and who knows who's kind of like leading the force on that. And it's arguable. But what the interesting part between that relationship is that China in the West is kind of like either a B2B, like major deals are going down, like banking deals. You have people come doing major real estate deals, or it's kind of like the lowest B2C that can be done, where it's like these micro, low cost products that are sent across. And like that, it's that
Alibaba
consumer,
Express
is,
style.
Yeah, which is still kind of like bigger B2B businesses in a way, but when it comes to a cultural exchange and like a B2C and like a culture to culture exchange, it's still very untapped. I mean, basically they have their own social media networks, Google, Facebook, all these are blocked over there. And we were talking about this yesterday, and that kind of like opened up my eyes to the idea that, yeah, whenever there is a power shift, or whenever the floodgates are lowered a little bit, and we do have more of a direct communication and direct cultural splash, the waves hitting each other, it will be interesting to see how the globalization between those two, because there is a barrier that is set in place between government and right now that's not letting that globalization fully take place in a more of a free, holistic way. So whenever somebody does open it up, or whenever we do get more lax when it comes to our trade agreements, or whatever that looks like, it's going to be interesting to see how those merge, and also who are the leaders on a entrepreneurial business, influential idea level that are able to tap into that
market,
billion plus people that make up China.
Yeah, I there in the modern world, they have the great firewall of China, right? That is their new great wall, and there really is just a divide. I can't tell you I couldn't name a single Chinese superstar. And I'm not saying Chinese meaning in America Chinese, like a famous basketball player, which rest in peace Kobe Bryant. We'll get to that. But the idea of I can't name you a movie star that's Chinese, that's in China. Like, grew up in Beijing and is massive over there. I can't name you all the names of all their biggest companies in those ways. And to think that all of those people have not started doing marketing, like for example, Facebook ad money. Imagine how much money they would start to pour into getting our attention for their companies. I'm not even talking about like Chinese goods where there's lots of Americans doing drop shipping businesses, FOB, Amazon style businesses or whatever it is, where they source from China, but it's still being marketed by like a dude in I don't know, in New York or whatever it is. It's what happens when there's a guy in China who's looking to you and saying, I want to scale my presence online. I want to be an influencer, but in the American market, but I'm a Chinese billionaire. You know what I mean? Like that's going to happen. I know that that's going to happen. And I think that that's going to happen in more and more of a media landscape that is actually saturating, but now there's like the new wave. And I was talking about, like TV on demand or connected TV, right? How Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV are all going to pass normal TV, normal cable satellite television type connections in 2020. And I believe that market is a stronger market for advertising and a stronger market for the world of marketing than anyone I know is talking about yet. So there's very little discussion about China as a market coming into America, and there's very little discussion about connected TV because right now everyone's like, how do I do Facebook ads and how do I do whatever? And so, it's always interesting to look forward into the trends of what is to come. But I'll say this much. Definitely going to China, and I would love to go with you, and definitely going to learn Mandarin or Cantonese. I don't know. I haven't decided. I think Mandarin is probably the way to go in the next decade because even if it's just to like say a couple of words and impress them and then have like a translator from there, I really believe that it's just a market we can't ignore.
Yeah. I mean, doing that even that little effort and beyond of like trying to integrate into the culture in some level, and that curiosity and that capacity definitely goes a long way with anybody who is trying to like go forward. And I think that that's even more than trying to tap into a different culture, but also just like how you show up in life in some way. Totally. Is like, are you like trying to like integrate, are you trying to like be curious, or are you trying to like go that extra effort?
Yeah.
Is a good way to do it. And I think that like just even the mindset and the awareness of like, okay, how can I expand? How can I learn? How can like I integrate? How can I open up communication? Is like the mindset of somebody who will succeed.